Alright, we should be live on www.watchmework.com now. Let's see. Our live streams. Hmm. Did not start streaming. Yeah, it did. Where is it? User 3. Almost ready, guys. Almost ready. Bear with me. Be with you in a second. Yeah, Twitching hour. Okay, I hope it works.
What are we doing today, Nicky?
I will tell you in just a minute, Phil. Okay, cool. This should be the link to the stream on watchmework.com. Why is it called witching hour? I don't know. I just tried to come up with something that I could remember. Maybe. Suppose that's the reason. Okay, yeah, I am ready. I'll be restarting. Actually, no, I won't be restarting the stream. I'll just be taking the music down a notch. Change the title. What? Then start playing that animation. What? Just so. Ha 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 ha. Are you guys ready? Am I ready? I don't even know. So here we go. Why the hell not? Welcome, welcome, one and all. This is episode 3 of Zero Switching Hour. Interactive, funny, hopefully, and educational art and design tutorial where yours truly will be telling you a little bit about my trade and secrets and just about drawing and a few little things you can here and there to improve your skills and maybe be able to enjoy it a bit more. In the first episode, 2 weeks ago, like we checked out some basic shapes, basic shape theory, color theory, and we began a basic drawing using the tools in Photoshop. Photoshop CC 2015 is, of course, the software we're using today for our stream, which is in 3 places at the same time. I'm proud to announce it's on Twitch TV/zeroc. It's on YouTube.com/zeroc, and of course on watchmework.com simultaneously being mirrored. I hope it stays stable. Guys, if you have feedback about the quality of the stream or the quality of the audio, please don't hesitate to let me know. Like, I do try and keep an eye on the chat while I'm drawing and talking. So I usually do respond eventually. Big Benfica. By the way, he loves the logo. Thank you, dog. I did improve the animation a little bit. The video editing bits will be also covered in later episodes of Witching Hours. Some tricks there. You can make some motion graphics, maybe for your Twitch stream. Simply. What else did you say? Please check Steam quickly. Doesn't have to be in stream, but okay, of course I will indulge you, my friend. What is it? Let's talk about that later. Yes. Anyway, so that was the first episode with Leonardo. In the second episode, we went to Japan with Donatello, and we just talked a little bit about composition and how to create basic backgrounds and color contrast, how to space out and measure out your drawing, is also using things like the golden ratio, like the Fibonacci sequence and spiral, and just trying to bring a little bit more of the science into the art, because there's tried and tested techniques which have been passed down through the generations of the masters onto us. Why ignore them? We can work with the knowledge that is given to us. So Donatello is in Japan. This painting is not finished yet, but of course, eventually, I'm sure I'll get around to it. And then, of course, what we started last time was drawing requests. Perhaps you can tell that on one, I still had quite a bit of time left. The top one and the second one kind of ran out of time a little bit for Pideo. But he did get an awesome cure of airship later, so that was cool. I'll show you guys in a second. So yeah, so now it's sometimes the drawing requests as well. I've been having a wicked time drawing more again recently, and yeah, it's fun if I can make you guys stuff and you guys enjoy it. So there was this Benfica logo that was the request, and then yeah, drawing goes with the plan as well as derp. But then of course there were more. Like I spent the entire Sunday after that pretty much in the channel fulfilling drawing requests and beyond. First the Benfica logo, like I improved it a little bit more. And then a cat playing video games, very simple drawing. Two Austria balls, an ancient Greek warrior, a Peltas, the spear thrower. Uh, Benson with the request of the evil dwarf. Um, Congratulations again on your engagement, bro. Very happy for you. Leo wanted the Donald Trump and the Dalai Lama outfit. Like, guys, if you really want to see how like a full drawing is made, like I did put online some of these drawing requests where you can see me make a drawing from start to finish. So yeah, that could be fun. So Donald Trump was a lot of fun. That was a fun, bizarre kind of request. You know, it's a good challenge from Leo. Draw me in manga style or make him. I made him awesome. Awesome was like, could you wanted to be a lone wanderer in the desert? Seal, seal as seal. Draw Kappa. Could improve this a bit more, but I guess if you zoom out, it. Why is it in Windows Media Viewer shite? Whatever. Had to get it better. Here's the cure of airship from Red Alert 2. Over New York, perhaps. You know. Super Meat Boy. And of course, Ned Flanders as Fancy Pants. Joe has requested Ned Flanders as the devil. This one was pretty fun. I'll do another drawing request, perhaps this episode. But perhaps afterwards. Who knows? Depends how much I ramble. But yeah, so I'll be doing more of this. It's wicked practice and good fun. And good to interact with you guys on the channel, creating drawing. So yeah, episode 3 today. Let's look underneath the drawing a little bit, underneath the figure, understanding it a bit. It's not just wild brush strokes, you know, like drawing humanoid figures. It does require a bit of research, and like it requires you to do your homework a bit. You need to learn a little bit about anatomy and about perspective. Helps a lot. You need to practice or like look at animals in their movements and for their textures and scales and how you can properly display them in a somewhat believable way. This drawing is still very rough, of course, but there are some fundamentals that I do try and remember when I'm trying to create a structured drawing. You know, like this kind of comic style. You know, like it does have like a science to it. Like for example, like an average human figure or like the average proportions of a humanoid are right between 6.5 to 8 circles or heads tall, proportional. And I'll explain to you why in a second after I've copied all these little circles. What have we now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7.5 sounds right. Here, show you I'm not lying. One, zero, derp, derp, bit more, 7.6, close enough. Um, yeah. So as you can see, 1.5 bits is like the neck and the head in size. Head is actually quite thin. It's not as if these were the proportions and Donatello were a human, like his head would be slimmer. The legs, the length of the legs is actually almost 2/3 of the body, even though it doesn't appear like that. That's the way it is. So you need to account for that. If you draw the legs too short, um, it just appears weird subconsciously. I mean, a lot of these placements, like when you're drawing figures or people, like a lot of this happens subconsciously. Like subconsciously, you know what looks good and where things should go. Like from your own experience, you recreate it. Like because you recreate drawings from memory as well. With each leg or torso or whatever that you draw, like you kind of save it in your memory bank in your head, and you can draw upon that when you draw like something similar or even something completely different. So here, so the legs are quite long, and the torso, is also not. It's like two. Ah, Cola Cat is walking in front of the screen again. Hey, Cola Bear, let me just pick you up and put you over here. Yep, it. And yeah, the torso, it's kind of like an inverted triangle, two inverted triangles, like that. Wait, let me draw that in a different color so you guys can see it better. Maybe in blue. So yeah, torsos for males. Of course, for females, the proportions are a little different again. We'll be covering that too. It's connected, like a cylindrical shape. The neck sits on top of that, and the head sits on top of that yet again. The arms go to the middle of the thigh. Shorter than that, and you look a bit retarded. Longer than that, and you look like a monkey if you draw it. Just basic proportions of like the male human, like the classic stick figurine, the mannequin that you see in so many ateliers and people that draw seem to just spawn them everywhere. And yeah, of course, Donatello is a Ninja Turtle, so you need to take that into account. His belly and his torso, they'll be a bit wider. He'll be a bit stockier. It's all pushed together a bit. The neck isn't so long because the head is so large, and he has that that shell on the back that you need to account for, like when how he places his weights and how he shifts his body. Um. So yeah, so you can practice this. Like there's tons of reference sheets for anatomy and learning the figure. The books by Andrew Loomis are awesome. For example, let me just pull that up for you. Loomis books. Here he is, Andrew Loomis. Is this yeah, let's look at the wiki. Why not? Better not something. Andrew Loomis, illustrator, author, and art instructor, and he drew many. He wrote many books about the human figure and drawing the head and hands, successful drawing. Lots of really good stuff, really excellent lessons from Andrew Loomis. And yeah, you need to practice that. You need to practice drawing people from different perspectives and different poses, from different distances, doing different things. Let's look at all of these things I have prepared. Okay, like guys, I didn't draw these next few pages, but like they illustrate it really well. So credit where credit is due. here, check it out, right? Like there's these like grids, for example, for perspective, so you can measure your drawing, right? Different connection points. There's some foreshortening at work. Foreshortening means if you draw something that's in the foreground, it needs to be larger than what's in the back, and it needs to cover the shapes that are behind it partially. Here we have the proportions with the head. Here the arms are a bit short, perhaps. Not loving that. Uh-huh. Hands. Let's look at what else I had. You know, arcs of movement and perspective. Trying to draw people that are walking in a natural way is a nightmare. It's really difficult to get right. Yo, dog! Ali in the hood. Good to have you, bro. Big fan of the okay. The arcs of movement, and you see, how people have measured these lines on the ground to help you aid with your drawings, circles and squares, as we discussed in the first episode, circle, squares, and triangles, of course. A basic understanding of geometry helps a lot when constructing drawings, when trying to measure them out, knowing how the angles work, especially for lighting and shadow. This is really important. You need to understand how the light falls and how it bounces and how it creates shapes by the way it falls. And this happens with like the trajectory of the light. Um, so yeah, get your angles covered, hardy hardy. Here, this is lovely. This drawing, like it really shows like how simple the shapes are that are in a complicated drawing, right? This is a lion, right? But it's like a rectangle and like a trapezoid, and then the same at the front, legs, the mane, the tail, and then like a little bit of detail here in the frontal view. You can see it really well. Lion has an octagonal shape, its face, anyways, and then you can just draw a mane on top, and you have a male lion. That's how it works. Here are some more drawing the mannequin from any viewpoint. This is where it helps to have that wooden mannequin standing around. If somebody asks you to draw, I don't know, Yoda standing at the edge of a cliff fighting with a Sith Lord, but it's seen kind of from above, but at like a 45-degree angle. You need to know how to measure that out, and then drawing these little maps and blueprints on the floor. I find that quite helpful. Do you guys have any questions so far? Any feedback so far? Do you like what I'm saying? Is what I'm saying of any use to you? It could be total gibberish. No, I am. I do admit I am still quite nervous when I do these things. I'm quite new to it. Uh, Here, some more studies of light. This is a really cool little thing. The portrait lighting cheat sheet. It works for drawing, but of course, this is actually a photography tutorial. And here it shows you how light falls from different angles. Top left picture, this one, the flash is coming, the light is coming from the front, but the light is pointed downwards, 45 degrees. That's why there's like a shadow on his neck, right? So if I'm drawing something and it's happening at noon, right? Then I need to know that my characters in the drawing, that's where the light is coming from, and then they need to have a shadow like that. It's important to know that. The same goes here for the other angles of light. The one from the front is pretty cool. The one from 180 degrees from the back. This is how you create silhouettes. Good to see. A good silhouette is important, an important aspect of a good design. If you can discern the distinct shape of something from a distance easily, it is a mark of good craftsmanship. So watch out for that. That's why logos of big companies have very simple shapes, so you can recognize them easily. Yeah, wrap it up, and yes, back to the figure. Like this is male, but when we're drawing a female, for example, we need to be aware of slightly different things. Female, the body, the portions of the female body are slightly different from the portions of the male body. First of all, um, girls are a bit shorter. So wait, let me make a new layer for this. I can explain it well. And I'm also going to increase the size of our canvas so we don't run out of space. That would be terrible. Because now, so we have unlimited space. Ain't that a thing? Hey, Jazzcan. Psychosis, dude. Awesome to have you. Wicked, wicked, wicked. Jazzcan is here too. Here comes the can. Check him out. Check them out. Oh, Nightbot. Nightbot. Yes, there you are. Good Nightbot. Good Nightbot. Right. So the drawing, the female body proportions while drawing the marching ants, as Mr. Matthew would say, were still activated marching ants because when you use the selection tool, or the most important tools in Photoshop, it has these little black and white moving lines around it. That's why it's called the marching ants. With it, we can select pretty much everything. That's what it's for. So yes, the proportions. La di da. Here is purple that we wanted, and of course, like I said, girls have slightly different proportions than guys. So let's draw these up. Let's get a few more circles on the goat. Hmm. Hmm. Something like that. Put it on the floor. Yeah. Cool. 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 New layer. Make the brush a little bit heavier so we can see it better. Here. 25. And yeah, the girl. The ladies. Ladies have the legs are obviously very long. The shapes are more circular in order to achieve the hourglass figure of a woman. You know, like the shapes need to be round, not angular like a male. Males have triangles and squares and shit, but ladies have spheres. Gotta know that. The classic mannequin figure that you know from shops, boutiques, your local top shop will have a mannequin like this. And yeah, the lines on ladies are just more subtle, a bit more flowy, to suggest femininity, herpy derpy. Know how to draw the chest. Everything's slightly more rounded. The shoulders, ladies, are slightly more down than with guys. The the deltoid muscles on the neck are not as sharp. The necks are usually slightly longer on girls than on guys. Of course, like good hairstyle is important. But yeah, this needs to be rounder so you guys can see. I mean, obviously, you can make it really obvious that it's a girl if you need the job done quickly, but by doing what mankind has done for a long time by drawing blue figures of guys and red figures of girls and just making stick figures. You see them every day in toilets around the world. recognizable iconization of the most complex shape in the world, down to just very few lines. Um, Scott McCloud in his book Understanding Comics has a wicked segment on it, how humans like to see themselves everywhere. Here I'll demonstrate, right? What do you see? A face. You can take it even simpler. All you need is a random shape and draw an eye somewhere, and you can give it life. This is why people are like so fascinated by pictures of like electric sockets that look like mouths or whatever, or houses. Like people love to see themselves everywhere. And in that book, Understanding Comics, I'm gonna find it for you guys. Cars as well, exactly. But like it's also modeled after the human face, right? These are very basic design fundamentals. If you make things look like the person owning it, they're gonna be more prone to get it. Big Ben is back in the hood. Happy, happy times. Yeah, here, Understanding Comics. This book is amazing, and here's exactly the what I was talking about. The ability of cartoons to focus our attention on an idea is, I think, an important part of their special power, both in comics and in drawing generally. Another is the universality of cartoon imagery. The more cartoony a face is, for instance, the more people could be said to describe. Here we go. One, a few, thousands, millions, nearly all, the smiley face. That's why there is an emoticon option on every phone, because we can all recognize it and we all love sending smiley faces to each other because it's the easiest form of recognizing emotion in another person. These fucking four lines, right? The circle, the two dots, and the line or the mouth. That's all you need to tell a story. But yeah, I do really recommend this book. It's one of my favorite things, Understanding Comics. Let's look at another panel because it's just so awesomely educational. Here, the famous drawing of a pipe by Magritte. Just show that to you for a moment. There's a painting by Magritte called The Treachery of Images. Sine pas une pipe, translated, this is not a pipe. And indeed, this is not a pipe, it's a painting of a pipe. Right? No. Well, actually, that's wrong. This is not a painting of a pipe, this is a drawing of a painting of a pipe. Oder? Nope, wrong again. It's a printed copy of a drawing of a painting of a pipe. 10 copies, actually. 6 if you fold the pages back. You hear what I'm saying? If you do, you should have your ears checked because nobody said a word. Ain't that grand? You can get across a lot of information with just a few lines and a few panels of comics. If you can use text, it's even easier. It's such a universal way of communication. It's just fantastic. Yeah, you know, Scott McCloud, what a king. In all the arts, it's the surface that people appreciate most easily, like an apple chosen for its shiny skin. Surface, craft, structure, idiom, form, and at the very core, the idea. If the idea is good, everything else can be shit and it can still work. You know, different interpretations of the same subject, the old master, the master study, and the new kid. It's interesting how people choose to interpret the same image or subject in different ways. And that's how art styles develop. Here, check it out. No, there's the pyramid, the powerful pyramid. All the way from the simplest smiley in the bottom right to the hyperrealism in the bottom left, complete abstraction at the top of the pyramid, Picasso and such. Everything derives from the single act of making a few lines in the the sand or on paper, on the wall, on your skin. It doesn't even matter. Popala. Just depends what you like. But the cool thing is you can like all of these. Graphic novels especially have become such an important medium of transporting information in the last generation or two especially. Uh-huh. Yep. These guys are talking about Rapid. Dear, oh dear. Because they're playing football manager with Rapid. But yeah, this is a wicked image. I'm going to share it in the chat. So you guys can look at it in detail. Also read what it says. Look at the website. Learn something. Hopefully. Who knows? But yeah, the thinking in layers thing, or was it with Apple and the core? This this refers me back to what we talked about in the first episode, Android Arts tutorial, the onion, the layer, thinking in layers. Here, not just when you're crafting your drawing, not just the layers of pencil line art, simple colors, shadows, detailing, highlighting, etc. Not just those layers, but also what lies underneath it, the structure of the drawing, the proportions, the correct anatomy, further down, the idea behind it, the theme of it, the concept that you had in the first place, and why you drew the drawing. That all plays into a successful drawing at the end if you want to make something good. Of course, over time, you get better at each of these aspects, figuring out the craft and the idea and making it work together. You can have the best and coolest ideas, but you might have no idea how to draw, and then all you might be able to produce are stick figures. But that might be enough because that you can give to a designer or an illustrator, and if you get your idea across well enough, then they can realize it for you. That's the job that an illustrator has, to understand what the idea of the other person is, and then to actually translate it into a visual image. But yes, you know, go through the processes, right? Learn the basic techniques, learn to hold a pencil, learn how to use the mouse, learn Photoshop. Photoshop and programs like it are so essential nowadays if you want to succeed with your art, even if it's just completely unedited stuff, even if it's just to save the photos of the drawings that you make. You know, you need a program like this. If you don't have Photoshop, I can suggest GIMP, GIMP. It's an open source free Photoshop clone, which works very well as well. So it's good for people starting out with photo editing and drawing and painting. GIMP is a really good alternative. Yeah, more science, you know, like learn how different surfaces. This is not a booby. Learn how different surfaces like deal with light, basically. Yeah, metal is more reflective with stronger highlights. This is like clay. This is plastic. You know, you draw these things in different ways. Skin has a different texture than a Fanta bottle, right? You can get that across in your drawings by making the line jagged, for example, on the skin and the drawing of the engine of the motorcycle that the guy holding the yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, but yeah, like you need to study this and you need to practice this and you need to go outside and sit outside with your pencil during the day or in the evening or somewhere and see how the light is hitting the street and the people and then do a drawing at noon and then do a drawing at 5 p.m. It's just like with photography. There's the sun is up at different times of the day and it's in different positions, different times of the day. It creates different colors, different color temperatures, different hues. And of course, the light is coming from a different direction. So things look different when the light is coming from a different place. If you can place your own light sources for your own drawings, then you're already a step ahead of the crowd. I hope, I think. You know, similar with shadows, how reflected light works, how the combinations of colors work when light gets reflected onto it from another surface. Here, for example, the sun is hitting the red block and reflecting onto the metal ball. You need to paint that. You need to draw that in if you want to be successful. Oh, my mom is calling. Wait up. Hi, Mama. Was? Nein, den habe ich in meiner Tasche. Aber ich bin live on the air. Ich bin gerade live auf der Folge. Seid ihr wieder da, ja? Dankeschön. Aber ich komme morgen zum Frühstück. Hallo. So, yes, that was a quick phone call with my mom. Can't deny my mom when she calls. Can't do that. She'll always figure it out. Bet you she will. Here, what was I saying? Where does the sun come from during different times of the day? How does it affect your drawing and your painting? Can't can't speak to Cindy right now, I'm afraid, because she she isn't my mom, so I don't have to pick up when I'm working. You understand? Anyways, so yeah, and of course, like there's light has different qualities. In the summer, the sun has a warmer light than in the winter, a more orange light, a higher Kelvin value. The sun is in orbit, or like Earth is in orbit around the sun, so the sun is in different positions. But of course, the Earth rotates, so you need to take that into account. But whatever, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Here, back to the materials, drawing them. Clay, flat reflections and values. The shadows are low, and the highlights are also not very high. Plastic. Here you go. Here you already see where the light reflects better, where this plastic is a much smoother material. And metal, this like chrome, right? Super reflective, and you need to know that. The same goes for skin tones, right? Skin tones aren't like these weird pink blobs. It's a mixture of red, green, and blue and orange, and you just for every person you just need to find the right mixture by just playing around a bit. Here you see there's like the Windows thing is in the front. I want to show you this because it's quite important detail to note, right? Because there's blood underneath the skin. The skin has a slightly reddish hue, and especially during the day, if there's light reflecting off, this can be this. You see this a lot, so you need to take these things into consideration. Flatten and simplify, right? This is what I always do. I draw on a couple of layers, I merge them together. On top of that, I add more detail or I take detail away. Just focus points. Where is the drawing, or what are we supposed to look at first? Where is the eye drawn first to naturally? In this case, it's her left eye. That's where the light is hitting the strongest, and her mouth, just like the face here, the tip of the nose, that's where the light is coming from this side. That's where we're looking. Can achieve the same using blurring, right? If I blur the background a bit and keep her in focus, more attention will be on her, and you automatically, subconsciously put more attention, give the picture more attention, as it were. Here's what I was talking to you about before: perspective and construction, right? Oh man, Prometheus and this art tutorial, I'm gonna put the link again into the chat. This is awesome. And here, look, it's just a couple of lines. This is a simple 2-point perspective. Lines going this way, lines going that way. And with that, you can already measure out like a star base simply by following some of these lines here. that's the edge of the face with the gate and everything. And then with some shadows, it looks really awesome. There, you know, humans, people aren't straight lines, right? There's flow and movement in the lines and shapes of the body. To take that into account if you want to make a drawing that looks natural. Guy, it's really difficult to make a dude like when you draw him like stand like straight on the ground, properly weighted. How's the balance? How the balance of his legs affects him? Here, swooshy, you know, give it some life, give it some movement. Yeah, suggestion. You don't need to draw fully big black blobs or whatever to suggest shape, right? You can just use tiny little bits. Here, too much, a little, very stylized, and a combination of both. Here again, you know, the action lines. It goes with from the leg to the head, and the swing of the axe is mirrored in the arcs of the drawing. You learn these things. Your teachers in at university tell you about this stuff, but it helps to read about it a lot as well and just practice. You know, I can't stress this enough. I can talk to you about this all day, but if you don't practice your drawing skills or whatever craft it is you're doing, you won't be improving past a certain point. Here again, the layers, the simple blueprint, then the basic shapes, then start with the detail and give it personality, and clean up the drawing at the end for print or for coloring. Very, very important. Okay, do you have any questions at the moment? This is live. So live, Fancy Pants Joe. Welcome. I need to drink some water briefly. I eat coffee. Yes. So, my throat is relatively clear again. And here, the same way that you construct the body, you know, using like basic shapes and basic proportions, the same you can do and use it by zooming in a bit and doing when you're doing the face. Faces are important when drawing. Let me make the canvas just a little larger so we don't run out of space. Rapida. That was actually the wrong direction. I needed to go sideways, damn it. Oh, zoom in a bit. Yes, the face, right? Circle, bottom, chin, jaw, and through the center. The eyes are in the middle of the circle. Whoop. So are the ears. The nose is where the circle ends. The mouth is underneath that. Chin. Here we can already see from the circle where the jawbone is of the skull. Hands are a bit rounder. Push it out a bit. Push the head. No, this is where the brow is. Eyebrows. Duppy dub. And hair on top. Mustn't forget the hair is always bigger than the circle of the head. So you need to take that into account as well. And the same we can do from the side. Circle. Then the jaw. So, my bad. The middle of the circle is here. And ears are here. Derp. This is from the side now. eyes, up, eye sockets, up, bit of, mouth, up, up, and hair. So you always like kind of start with the circle, and then draw the chin, jaw, ears, eyes in the middle, and from there you can usually find your way. Whoop-a-da. Of course, different art and comic styles have different proportions. Certain mangas, like Cowboy Bebop or Bleach, the heads are much more elongated and thinner. The ears are bigger, nose is longer, and like you need to learn hard different styles. Or Dragon Ball, the heads are much rounder, much more moon faced. The ears are even bigger. In Dragon Ball Z, of course, the big difference is that the heads become like angular, or much more angular. Quick Vegeta. And as always, I'm not using a drawing tablet or anything like that. This is just my mouse. That's why the lines may appear a bit rough at first, but I like it. Well, like in Dragon Ball, if you draw Dragon Ball, for example, you need to learn the shapes of the hair off by heart. That's the only way to get it right. Because Dragon Ball drawings are actually very exact. Anime and manga usually follows a very exact formula to achieve the drawing. It's like how it is. Should tell the story. Kawabanga. Um, real people, the shapes. They're obviously not perfect circles and perfect triangles and perfect squares. It's all just a bit more suggested, right? When you're doing more realistic drawings. And every person looks different. It has different proportions of the face and of the body. And yeah, the only way to get that down is just to do practice live drawing people, either closed or not. Uh, yeah, like you can achieve different styles if you make the faces more square or more circle or more triangular, as discussed before. Let's see how we're going on in the chat. They're talking about footy. Do you guys have any art related questions about the episode so far? Any feedback? Is what I'm doing useful? Do you like it? Would you like my smoke? For how much? It's free, dog. Imagine that. Imagine that. And yeah, that's what it boils down to: practicing basic shapes. First the body, then the head, then you get down to drawing more detailed things like eyes. Eyes are like kind of like almond shaped, depending. getting like the correct shape of eyes right. Like when you're doing drawings like for friends or of people, I think that's the hardest part of any drawing, because the eye is the window to the soul, and I mean a single black circle can work, but that's where a lot of the personality and the life of someone is. Of course, the stance of a person, the pose, the body language, it reveals a lot. But the face, those features, that you need to practice. Like noses. Noses are like triangles with little, I mean rectangles with little triangles on the side for male noses. Here's the bridge of the nose, where they're square with a circle at the front. Or you can draw noses that are very circular and tiny, using only circles. Here's the mouth. Up, right? And you know, ears have a distinct shape that you need to practice. Like you need to look at them, how how you can break it down into as few lines as possible, so you can recreate it so it looks believable. So if you draw it, someone knows that, oh yeah, that's an ear. I see what you tried to do there. But achieving that drawing, like when you want to make something, you have a little image of it on your head before you make it, or you would like it to look like. And getting that little image to look like that on paper then as well, there, that's the secret. That's the discipline, I suppose. It helps. I find it helps a lot to draw a small thumbnail of what you want to draw before. Like for example, if I want to draw a cat, like I'll figure out like in a tiny drawing, just like suggesting like how the cat will be. Maybe I think he'll be sitting. Here's the tail, and yeah, it's like, I guess his face is like he's facing us. Here are the ears. Yeah, and from this, like I could amplify it, make it larger, magnify it, not amplify it. It's like a pear shape, spiral tail, 2 feet. Because why not? 2 ears. Eyes, a nose. And yeah, so that's a cat. And this is just a slightly larger version of that one. But now I can redraw this to make it look more like. I mean, obviously, this is a rough drawing. Like, if I'm making a good silhouette, if I'm making a good thumbnail, you should be able to see at least the shadow of what you want to draw, the shape of it, so you can break it down into as few pieces as possible. Here, I will illustrate by using a round brush, right? A big round brush. This drawing is just one circle here, another circle here, a larger circle, and on top of that, half on top of that. Um, Now let me just go back to drawing. 2 triangles for the ears and a spiral line for the tail. That's how you break it down. And the more practice you have, the more complicated the shapes become, the combinations of shapes that you can make and that you can believably draw. Here, this is very few shapes. This is like, like 5 or 6. But then the moment will come where your shit looks like this. Maybe it's maybe that's an airplane or something. Right?
I don't want to interrupt you with 5 minutes left.
Cool. Thank you very much. But yeah. So start simple and work your way up. Combine what you learned each time. I mean, maybe you just start drawing with circles when you first start, or maybe you're more like the cubist kind, or maybe you really dig geometry. Right? It just depends. It just depends. Let's see. What have you guys can say? Think about it. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. So yeah, that's pretty much all that I wanted to say for today, except for 2 more things. Uh, Again, I wanted to make you guys aware of the amazing book by Scott McCloud, Understanding Comics. I will also, once this will be a video on demand, of course, and I'll be putting it on the website soon, where I'll be adding the links. Here, Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. Let's look at the cover. No, that's not the cover. It's The Invisible Art by Scott McCloud. And I would like to recommend you one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. Don Rosa at his very best. This is the ultimate Disney graphic novel, in my opinion. It is absolutely epic. The story of Scrooge McDuck, Uncle Dagobert, his lifestyle, his adventures, all the way up to him settling in Duckburg and in Entenhausen, how he got there, how he set the first steps of his empire. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful art. Yeah, check that out. Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. So yeah, that was. Let's quickly sum up again. That was Witching Hour episode 3. We covered some basic, well, some more advanced techniques this time. It's actually understanding your drawing, measuring it out using basic proportions, how heads are put together, haha, how you can use different shapes to achieve style, thumbnailing, and basic shapes and silhouettes, some more composition techniques, building on, of course, the color theory and basic shapes and basic drawing that we did in the first episodes and the second episodes, Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio, beginning to all play together now. How the eye perceives faces, the old socket, you always think it's a face, smiley face. Yeah, a little bit of philosophy as well. I mean, I hope you guys enjoy that. We'll be back next week at 11 as well. And we'll be taking you slightly further down the rabbit hole. More tricks of the trades, more secrets, more me drawing and rambling on about things I may or may not have learned in the past almost 30 years that I've spent in this realm thus far. If you like that, share, tweet, click the little heart, give a follow, hook it up. Always happy. And yeah, if you guys have any questions or feedback, hook me up. We're going to be in the channel and chilling and talking. Probably have to call my mom back. And yeah, that was Zero's Witching Hour for now. Thanks very much for tuning in. Also on watchmework.com. I'll be reading some comments, answering any messages I may received. Awesome sauce. Thank you guys for having me. Be back soon. No problems. Peace. Whoop. Did you enjoy that, Phil? Glad.
Very interesting, eh?
Glad you liked it.
Cool. Very cool.
Thank you, guys.
I've learned so much, man. Seriously. About drawing.
That was the witching hour.
And by the way, like off the record,
Well,